The thing about life is that it has an incredibly short time span. So, therefore, with the time we're granted in life, it's important that when we can, we all be obsessed with our passion and pursuing it as our primary goal. And if you need some help on redirecting your life compass in that direction, today's your lucky day, and you picked a great time to stop by the podcast and have this conversation with Stacy Gissal. You see, she's a life coach committed to helping people balance and activate their energy, to permit them the opportunity to step into the person they were meant to become and live a life they're excited to wake up and execute. I know I was excited and energized after spending some time with Gissal, and I hope you feel the same. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Yeah, so am I. So, Stacy, if you're ready, I'll welcome you to the program. And I'm excited to talk to you today about desire and passion and trying to captivate that. Good to see you this afternoon. And thank you so very much for being here.
It is so good to see you too. And I could not be more excited to be here. So thank you.
Absolutely. And Stacey, I know for you, you help people sort of make a dramatic changes so that they can live the life they want to live and follow their passion. So I'm wondering if you could tell me more about that.
Yeah, I would love to. So, obviously, everything kind of, like we are the best at helping people through things that we have been through ourselves. And that's a lot of where my passion comes from. Is there was a point in my life where it felt like I was doing all the right, quote unquote, right things, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't necessarily feeling super fulfilled in my life. And so really that led me down this really transformational journey. And I would say that the first step to that and how I really help people in the beginning is through self mastery. It's through that ability to have a really, really sturdy foundation, and know that that foundation is actually you. So whether it's a business that you want to create, whether it's just changing an aspect of your life, whether it's the relationships that you're in, it starts with you. And it's not just about your mindset, it's about really understanding yourself at a really, really deep level.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't help but notice the sign behind you that says Beyond Limits. So I'm wondering how that moniker affects the work you do and the life you live.
Yeah, thanks for asking. It's actually, if I were to go up a little bit, it says evolve beyond limits. So it's kind of a tagline that I have developed. And it's really just knowing that like at a soul level, we have no limits. Our body has some limitations, but if like we tend to settle a lot of times because we believe that there's a limit to what we can accomplish or whatever that happens to look like. So evolve beyond limits is just a constant reminder that if we continue to evolve and to push ourselves to kind of that breaking point. It's funny, actually I was in a yoga class the other day and she said, take yourself to the edge. She said, the edge is that moment of discomfort just before pain. And that's where transformation happens. And I thought that was such a beautiful thing because it couldn't be more accurate. Like, if we can continue to push ourselves, I really just truly believe that we have no idea what life has in store for us if we keep pushing ourselves to that edge.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you find a great deal of importance in helping people balance their lives so that they can have the appropriate energy to be successful. So I'm wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about that as well.
Yeah, so the energy, see, like I don't really necessarily, I've always struggled with this whole balance thing, right? Because like if we could balance it all, it would be easy. I feel like, but like
Yeah,
it's
none
almost
of us would be
impossible to.
working. Yeah, none of us would be working if we balanced it all, right?
Right. Yeah, maybe. Exactly. So I think that like balance is such a sticky thing. And I don't really think that you can necessarily balance your life. But what you can do is learn to understand. We often look at our lives when things are going not maybe the way that we would love them to go. That's when we tend to look at our life and say, "Oh my gosh, what's out of balance here? What's out of whack?" But my thing is like, what if we looked at the moments in our life where everything was going really well and we had a lot of energy, because like our energy is our number one asset. We just don't necessarily understand it all that much. Like we know when we don't have it or when we do, but we don't necessarily understand what gives us energy, what makes us excited to wake up in the morning. And so I want people, if you're listening, to start paying more attention to that. Like, what is the balance in your life? Where are you spending the most time when you are the most excited, when you feel the best? And then use that as a almost like a guiding light to how, like, where you should be pouring yourself into.
Absolutely. And you also say that you use fun and your heart to guide you into the person you are today. So I'm curious to ask you about the importance of following ambition and your own individual passion and taking the leap of faith in yourself.
Oh man, if I wouldn't have taken a lot of leaps of faith, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today. And so I'm very grateful, and I think that it's a huge thing. And I think in our culture a lot of times like we are taught to learn to make decisions based on intellect, right? Like based on what our mind is saying and like all of those things. But I think you need both. Like we need our intellect, but we also need our intuition. And intuition is something that comes from within you. It's your inner wisdom. It's something that no one else can explain, or like people can't necessarily understand it. It's just something that you're being called to do. So you have to here's that balance word again, right? We have to balance those two things. And I think that the more fun and play and not taking life so serious we can do, the easier it is for that intuition to come through and for us to really start to let our heart guide us a little bit more than our head sometimes.
And yeah, for sure. And one thing that I have sort of grown as a person is when we look at the value of being vulnerable and expressing our emotions, because I think it's always important to express how you're feeling and help that guide your mission in life. So I'm wondering your thoughts on that as well.
Oh, I don't think you could be more spot on. I think that like our emotions can be our biggest ally, or they can truly like destroy us, right? Like, and I think that it's something that is overlooked a lot of times because on an energetic level, everything kind of starts with a emotion in the body. And if we push them down, like they will end up coming to the surface through a physical manifestation, through something that's actually going to harm us in some way. So that ability to being willing to ask for help and then also letting other people in is so important, because we can't see our own blind spots. And I struggled with that too. Like, do not get me wrong. I used to be like Miss Independent, right? Like I didn't need anybody's help for anything. And everything works until it doesn't. Right. And for me, that stopped working fairly quickly when I realized that like I didn't have the capacity to do it all. And if I really did want to evolve into the highest version of myself, I was going to have to ask for some help, because it's more fun that way and it makes the process a lot faster.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, I'm curious to get you to complete this sentence. I'm wondering what's the one aspect of your life that you're always trying to improve?
What a great question. I would say that I'm always trying to figure out how to be the best human that I can be without losing myself in the process.
Yeah, and to that end, what do you think people would be most surprised to learn about you?
Ooh, okay. So most surprised to learn about me. Man, I would say looking at my life now, like the fact that I used to be a total control freak. If you didn't know me in the past, I would say that, and then I would say too that I think people would be surprised to know. And I share this fairly openly, but I don't think I did for a long time. That like I really have realized that I spent most of my life trying to prove myself to everybody around me, and it took me a long time to start to do things from a place of not having to prove myself, but just simply showing up and again, being the best human that I can be. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious. I know that you live in Michigan, and I'm wondering what's your best part about living in the great state of Michigan. What's the best thing for you living in Michigan?
yeah, okay. So I love, you know what? I'm going to say the cider and donuts. Mostly the cider, less the donut, or I mean, mostly the donuts, less the cider. But we have like some epic donut places here, which I didn't really realize until I went somewhere else. And like people don't, not every state has that in the fall. So our falls, there, our summers are beautiful. Our like we have so many Great Lakes that there's so many port towns that are so fun. But yeah, our fall is just like the colors and the donuts and all of that is really, really fun.
The cider and applesauce does it for me, Stacy. The cider and the applesauce. And we
Okay, all right.
and I'm curious, Stacy, what's the one lesson that you hope to impart on your life that you hope that other people take away from you?
Ooh, one lesson. Okay, that's all right, I'm gonna kind of like combine this into like a couple. So I think for me, one, don't take life so serious. We just tend to take life so seriously, and it just is not meant to be lived that way. I think making sure that you never lose your sense of adventure, um, and be willing to be looked at like you're a little crazy.
Oh well, you well, I passed that test for sure. um, and tell me, when you want to have like a girls' night out in Michigan or with your girlfriend, what's the one thing you like to do the most?
Ooh, okay. So I love to wake surf. So it's like surfing behind a boat. Um, so if it's summer, if like we can get on a boat, I would say that. If we cannot get on a boat, I would say it should just probably include a margarita.
Since you brought that up, what do you, food wise, what do you pair with that margarita with when you like to eat there, Stacy?
Well, what else do you pair with a margarita? I would say tacos.
You're a girl after my own heart, I guess. I love food. It's the key to my heart. So, uh, and tell me, how do you want your professional and personal legacy to be defined?
Oh, that's a good question too. I don't really think about legacy a whole lot. Maybe I should.
That's
You know,
why I
I
left
just
it to the end, right?
I know that's such a great question. So I just want to make a positive impact on every person that I encounter. Now, when I say that, that does not mean that I'm always like people are always going to be happy with me. Right. Like, I think that's a very different thing. Because sometimes it's the people who challenge us the most that actually make the biggest and most positive impact on our lives, even if we can't see it in the moment. But I think that, like, truly, if everybody could just take some time to enjoy their life, and figure out whatever life it is that allows them to wake up and wake up every morning and be excited to live it, that is a ripple effect that can go beyond anything that you could possibly do or create. So yeah, I think that that's just what I hope to create as my legacy is, that positive ripple.
Fantastic. And tell me, what's the best way for people to get in contact with you if they're so inclined to do that?
Yeah, the best way is I'm on Instagram the most. So I'm maybe I'll put it in the show notes, but on at Stacy Stacy _ Gissal Gissal. You can connect with me on there. I'm the one that answers all of the DMs that come through, or you can go straight to my website, which is the same www.stacygissal.com, and connect through there too.
Fantastic. You know, Stacy, I really enjoyed our lighthearted but serious conversation about life and following our passions. So I really want to thank you for your time and for joining me this afternoon. It's most appreciated.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. And thank you for just offering this space, where we can just come on here and be ourselves, and hopefully it'll resonate with somebody. So thank you for showing up.